So I just saw The Night House, which is a new film from David Bruckner, whose name probably doesn't mean anything to anybody except for me. He did a movie called The Ritual on Netflix, which I liked a lot. So going into this, I had high expectations. I like him as a director. I like Rebecca Hall as an actor. And what I got was a slightly above average movie with some incredibly striking visuals and a lackluster script. So the biggest positive with this movie is the visuals. I think David Bruckner absolutely kills this movie. It looks great, it's shot great, the ending 20-30 minutes is really a spectacle. It's a eye candy feast. I had a lot of fun with this ending, and it made up for a lot of the movie, if I'm being honest. The use of shadows, the use of different architecture to make scary images was neat. And even lighting and color usage was really cool in this last 30 minutes or so. I really enjoyed that aspect of the movie. It's definitely the best part, other than Rebecca Hall, who's just good in everything. So other than the visuals and Rebecca Hall's performance, there's not a whole lot to love about this movie. The message generally is about grief, dealing with grief, the loss of somebody, and how that can cloud your worldview. Nobody really knows what you're going through except for you. And that seems to be what it's going for, but it's not that well developed or established in any significant way. I wish that they really doubled down on it or tried to give it some ambiguity as to what was going on. Unfortunately, that's the best part about the movie, is the ending and how explosive and crazy it gets and how very clear it is. But also, in order to really reach the full potential of its message, some ambiguity, some subtlety, I think would have gone a long way, and it doesn't really have that. And that's one thing that also disappointed me, was the mass appeal of it. It's rated R, so like teenagers can't get in, but there's the usual trappings of horror movies, these obnoxious jump scares that are incredibly loud, and things that are not quite explained thoroughly, that, like a voodoo doll, unless I blacked out for a minute, I don't even know what the voodoo doll is doing in this movie. It's just there to kind of be creepy. One of the biggest problems, like I said, is that it falls into this territory where I don't think it gives the audience quite enough to get through the film. There's about an hour of time where things are incredibly vague. It's leading you all through this maze of trickery, kind of similar to what the movie is, or one of the characters is doing. But on a rewatch, I can't see this being particularly interesting, because the answers it gives you at the end of the film, while work with what it's going for, aren't going to make a rewatch that fun. Because, like I said, it is just a maze of trickery and deception. It's like smoke and mirrors, this first hour. It's just walking around, nightmare sequences, hearing noises, going around places, and occasionally seeing things, which is another trapping of these type of horror movies, where it's just vague imagery to be scary to fill time. And that's what it feels like, unfortunately. So that's The Night House, more or less. It's a movie that's plagued with issues, but it has a lot of things going for it too. The ending is really fun. It gets crazy and inventive and creative. The visuals are really, really good. I liked some of the lighting choices and color choices, especially near the end. Rebecca Hall is typically great, but aside from that, it's a movie that seems a little bit too sparse. There's not quite enough there to truly get it over the hump into the good horror movie territory. It's a little bit too vague. The first hour can feel like it's not going anywhere, really. There's a lot of clues and smoke and mirrors that don't really lead to a whole lot. The ending is nice, like I said. It answers some questions, but there are still some things that I look at and I go, I don't really know what they're going for. And that's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, it's still passable. It's still fun in spurts. So I'd give it a 6. Solid 6. And that's The Night House.